Hello, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. Today is December 9th. I just stuttered, even though we December 9th, 2020, and we're here to talk about SEO. And we had a lot of good questions today, so we're going to jump right into them. Tricia, you had a question about a particular SEO plugin for WordPress.
Yes, Yoast. So Yoast is what I'm most familiar about, and it's one of the ones that's been around probably the longest for WordPress sites. Recently, though, I know that a lot of other plugins have kind of become popular as well. One of the things I keep hearing is that, oh, Yoast has now become really bloated, which concerns me because of in the beginning of 2021, the whole Core Web Vitals and slowing your website down. So my main question is what do you know about that? And is there something that I should look at as an alternative for that bloat?
Yeah, good. I think it's a good question, and your question challenges me because I'm a big fan of Yoast,
Yes, I'm too.
and I'll admit that I haven't investigated the other SEO plugins that have come out since. What I like about Yoast is all the things it does besides the green light, which I hate the green light.
Yeah.
Hate the green light. Hate the green light. But I love everything else. Now, one detail I want to clarify in what you just said, we got a stay of execution for the Web Core Vital update. That is now May 2021.
May 2021.
Not January 2021.
Okay.
And that's official from Google a few weeks ago. So we do have a few months to worry about that. But other than that, I want to defer, and maybe we can do an experiment here, because I think all of us are running Yoast, aren't we? I mean, Lavanya,
Yeah, I have it installed.
doing it too? Well, why don't we do a test of with and without with page speed? Or if you have a site that's running a different SEO plugin or no SEO plugin, install it, see what happens, and then uninstall it. Because I would love to see, I've heard that accusation as well, but I have yet to see anybody promote data, nor have I ever seen anything in any of the Web Core Vital reporting pointing out something from Yoast.
Okay.
I also know that Yoast a month or two ago did a significant change to the way their plugin works. And my understanding is that was about addressing speed issues.
Oh, okay.
I did not test, I just updated it and kept going.
Okay.
But I mean, of all the page speed reports I've run, I've never seen anything from Yoast say, flag anything in those reports. I wonder if it's like, hipsters having to have the latest and the coolest, and oh, Yoast has been around, it must not be as good as Rank Math or whatever the cool kids are doing.
Yeah.
Has anybody here tried a different SEO plugin? Didn't use a different one, Steffi, for a while?
Oh, All-in-One was a long time ago. Yeah. We used that a lot, but moved to Yoast quickly with Sarah Benoit's recommendation.
Yeah, and I started with All-in-One, and I moved away back to Yoast as soon as I could, because All-in-One always had problems to me. Always a little buggy.
Oh, wow. I never had that, but yes, Yoast is way better, I think.
Okay. Interesting. I know a site I built recently, when we were building it and hadn't gotten everything set up, I was like, okay, let me go ahead, since I have all the metadata and all that stuff, I'll just go ahead and put it in. And I went and I'm like, I just haven't seen a site without Yoast that I kind of was like, all of it's missing. Where do I put it? And then I was like, oh, I don't have Yoast installed yet.
Yeah.
So, and then installed Yoast, and it was like everything looked like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
So, okay. Interesting though about, I don't know, as far as, I guess you said testing with and without page speed. So, is there like, could I test a site that has it on there, then go and uninstall Yoast? Would that, so if I did that, would it take anything like, if I've put in with Yoast, like the meta description, all that stuff, and then uninstall Yoast, would that come off?
as I hear you talking, I'm revising my experiment because I would be really afraid of losing all that data.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. All
So
right. So,
maybe run it, then install Yoast and then run it again.
yeah, I don't have one that I could do that with, but
Yeah. But it would,
I will have one in the coming months. I'm
Can't you
gonna,
just deactivate it though and it not lose the data?
well, but I think if you deactivate it, it's still there, and if it has bloat, that'll still pick up.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, some plugins will have that problem. Yoast is a really well written plugin, so it
Mhm.
might not. But to really do the test, I think you'd have to completely uninstall it.
Yeah, I do have, I'm gonna be building my site. I'm really gonna be working on it in January. So maybe like when I get to the point before I install Yoast, I'll do a lot of everything else and then run a speed test and then add Yoast and run a speed test. So I need to put that on my to-do so that I run a speed test before I do Yoast and add everything.
I have a site that we built that we haven't added anything to Yoast yet. I wonder if I just go in and uninstall it and then install it again. I could try that.
I'd love
Yeah,
to I'd love to hear what it came up with, and it'd be great to do multiple sites on different servers
Yeah.
and kind of weed out some other
Mhm.
variables.
Yeah, just to see if any of that, because I've read it in different places.
Yeah.
So then I'm kind of like, well, should I start looking at something else or just ignore those because that's just, you have something you like, so you tell people use it, but then again, want to make sure that there's
Yeah,
not.
I don't. Yeah, I'm challenged by your question because I really do need to sharpen and make sure I'm not just using Yoast out of default.
Yeah, yeah, which is kind of what I do. So okay.
I've never seen any problems.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, good, thanks.
Okay. Well, no, great question. Great question. Allie, you had some exciting news, and the question was relating to your exciting news.
Yeah, my exciting news is that we were accepted into, I guess it's almost like a Better Business Bureau kind of thing, but it's for autism providers. It's called CASP. So we have approval to add that logo to our website to show that we're an approved provider for them. But I'm not really sure. This is why it's convenient, Stephanie, that you're on this call now. If that is something to like build into the website, if it should be on certain pages, if it, where's the best place to add it? Should it be everywhere? Should it only be one place? That kind of thing.
So you're basically you were accepted into an elite group that's allowing you to use their logo to say that you have maybe it's not a certification, but some sort of credential.
Yeah, it's essentially just putting like a stamp of approval from a third party on our services.
Yeah, this is opens up the door for an entire concept called EAT. Have we talked about EAT before?
I don't think so.
So EAT is the idea of expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. And we've talked about Google's manual review guidelines before, which is a documentation. I remember Anita had interviewed for the job of being a manual reviewer, and her job, had she been selected for that, she would have been someone who could review search results to see if they're consistent with what Google wants to show in their search results. So there's this huge manual that says, here's how you determine whether a website's good quality or low quality and anywhere in between. Google releases this manual review guideline they just released one recently, but every about 6 months or so. And one of the key concepts for the last few years in that guideline is called EAT, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. And it suggests that a website's quality can be established based on these kinds of things. Things that establish it as an expert, authority, or establish trustworthiness. So things like, in fact, it explicitly calls out, I'm a member of the Better Business Bureau.
Exactly.
Therefore, there is some sort of intermediary organization. If there's a problem, that will come between you. Like that's why I put all my AdWords certifications, my Google Analytics certification, on my website, right? Because it's certification by a third party that I know what I'm talking about. Um, this is a really important concept. So if you can earn any sort of EAT thing, where a third party can say, we agree, this person is an authority, they have expertise, or they are trustworthy, it is worth adding to your website.
It's called EAT.
EAT. So yes, highly recommend adding it to your website. Two questions before we talk about that. Number one, we always have to wonder about links. Does the logo or does this organization require you to link back to their website?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
They sent an email with where we can find their various logos for use. And the only thing they say is to not edit them in any way. So they give a few different like logos that you can use, but just you can't edit them.
Okay, good.
Legitimate.
So sometimes they'll do like click to verify, and they'll ask you to link to their website to show that this organization is a truly a member. And in that case, we have to worry about reciprocal linking, right? Where we're trading links, and we can't do that. So if we just have to put a logo somewhere on our site,
Mhm.
then that's really easy. And then it's a design issue. So then we have to just consider, well, where can we put it on our site? Is this something that is it worth redesigning how the site's working in order to add this to the site? And you're asking the right questions. Where do we put it on the site?
Mhm.
I'd love to hear everyone here's thoughts on that. I'd almost say put it on every page of the site.
Like in the footer.
In footer. Footer.
And then the footer, and then maybe another page if you have something else, maybe like your about us, where it talks about like, you know, this has your credentials and stuff.
Yeah, in fact, this manual review guidelines that I've talked about before, one of the things it says is make sure you have an about us page on your website that explains who you are and why you're credible. So at the very, very least, you'd want it on that page, right?
Okay, that's a good idea.
But the other thing is, you know, footers are great places for this, but there may be like very relevant landing pages that it should be front and center. For instance, like I put my AdWords certification on my PPC landing page. Overall, my AdWords certification says, oh, David has been tested by Google and is familiar enough with AdWords to pass the certification. You could say that's valuable or not, but that's the truth. I definitely put that on my PPC page, but I also allow it to show up in other pages to say, oh, there's several reasons why David knows what he's talking about, even if it's not relevant. But I would definitely put it on that page. So if there were services related to this specifically, I would make sure and put it on that. If there was something that's not necessarily relevant, well, then maybe you don't make it front and center. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily like one service that we provide.
Right.
So what the membership is the Council of Autism Service Providers. So, you know, it's essentially like everything we do, they're giving like the stamp of like you're an autism service provider, we approve you. You know, so it's not maybe one facet of what we do, it's just us in general as a provider.
Okay. Then I would definitely make it sure it's on every page. Because for instance, let's say someone even lands on a blog post.
Mhm.
And we're not, you know, we understand that a blog post isn't necessarily about selling the product, but about informing the customer. Maybe someone's not quite ready to buy your services yet.
Mhm.
But it would still be a credibility matter to say, hey, we are knowledgeable in this topic of this blog post. Look at this,
Mhm.
this certification, this
Right.
this association we're a member of. So yeah,
I'm sorry, I also just thought we didn't talk about success stories. Yeah, I just thought of a huge.
Okay, okay. If you got
I'm
a
so
success story, that's
Uh,
okay. We'll
I
wait.
know I like never have one, and or at least I never think I have one, but this is a real one. We so we've talked about how we've had a ton of new clients coming in. Well, one of the parents made a point to tell us that the reason she decided to reach out is because she follows us on Facebook and Instagram and loves the content of our posts, specifically that we do an employee spotlight every month and we share about our employees, and it made her feel like we have really quality employees, that we value our employees, and that we don't have that high turnover that a lot of other companies have. And so that's why she chose to go with us.
That's great.
And
right?
that was just like such a win, because that's something we've really been overhauling is our social media and making our posts like engaging, and making sure that our staff really feel like part of the team. And so that was really great.
That is so great.
Yeah.
And to follow on that, I got a client because of your website yesterday. They saw your website, they liked it, they looked at the bottom to see who made it, and they found me. So we'll see if they sign up. But it was
Our
it was
traffic
cool.
has been way up. We just looked over, for like my job purposes, we're reviewing our website traffic from when I started in like May and June versus now. And in June, I think we had like 200 something page visitors. And in November, we had over 500.
That's
So,
great.
a nice big increase that has really been helpful.
Good.
Yay.
Well, I was talking with your boss about you yesterday too, so hopefully that helped.
Oh gosh.
It was all good things.
Mm.
I hope so.
It makes it sound where I sent her an email.
Yeah, I have to get over like the trauma of my last job, which is like a really toxic work environment. And so like half the time I'll tease my boss all the time if she like texts me. I'm like, oh God, what did I do? And then she's like, no, you're fine. So
Well, I'm proud of you. That's great.
thank
And
you. Yeah, it was a really good
that's
win
just
for
makes
us.
me so happy to hear. That's really good news. Oh, okay. So, did we give you enough information to act, Allie, or do we
Yeah,
want to?
I'm probably going to email Steffi
the
when I sit down
specifics.
and talk to her
Yeah.
about how/where to add it.
And I'm putting in the results from the test. By the way, it did go faster.
Did you remove Yoast?
So with Yoast, it was mobile 62, desktop 90. Without Yoast, it is 68 mobile, 92 desktop.
Okay.
Okay.
So there is a noticeable difference adding Yoast to speed.
I'm just gonna go to a backup, go back to where it was. So there we go. That's all we had to do, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would love to see some more,
Yeah.
pardon me, some more examples, but.
I have a question back where we were talking about what Allie was mentioning on the credential. So you were talking about being careful, like if they say, well, if you put our logo, then you have to link to us. So what about like if they don't require it, but you link to it so people know what that is? Tell me a little bit more. I'm a little confused about that part.
Well,
Because some people don't know what it is.
exactly. So remember the concern we're worried about here is trading links.
Uh-huh.
And although you could say, hey, Google, we're not trying to do anything shady by trading links here. We're just trying to help users. And theoretically, Google would say, yeah, that's a legitimate use of a reciprocal link. If there was a reciprocal link, that would mean they're already linking to you and then you link back to them. However, remember, we have to explaining intention to an algorithm is really hard. So we might say, hey, we meant well, but there's nobody to argue that with. So we just want to remember the rule about reciprocal linking, meaning we should not trade links with any website.
Okay, but we could do no follow?
Well, so if that website was linking to me and I wanted to link back to them, I would no follow my link.
Okay,
If they are not linking to me, it doesn't hurt me to link to them.
okay,
Okay. So you can either no follow or you can just leave it.
Okay.
But Google has specifically called out link trading by this method. For instance, a few years ago, we did at the agency I worked at, we did this little thing where we had bloggers submit their blogs to us for a regional blog award. And we awarded top 3 blogs in the region. And we gave them a banner to put on their website. And we encouraged them to say and link to it so that people can learn about it. Why did we do this? Well, you got links from this.
yeah.
And by the way, anybody who entered was a runner-up and they got to link to us too.
Mhm.
Now, we did really judge, and we did say this is the best blog, this is the second best, this is the third best, and we did encourage, we did give the runners-up, everyone who entered, a runner-up award, but we did it to get the links to our site.
Mhm.
That would be very manipulative from Google perspective, especially if we were linked to them.
Okay,
So Google is really kiboshing that idea. So that's the only concern. The only concern is if we're trading links.
okay,
If we're linking to them, then, and they're not linking to us, we're fine. For instance, I have a client, they had a really huge legal case that was in all kinds of media. They were covered on NPR, NBC, CNN, HuffPost, all these big places, and a lot of them linked to our website. Totally organic, fair links because it was such a newsworthy story. You'd all have known about this story. That's how big this was. Well, what did we want to do? We wanted to showcase that we're a big legal firm. And so we wanted to see, as seen in
Mhm.
CNN, HuffPost, but we didn't want to link out to them because that would have been a reciprocal link. Now, in that case, everybody knows who HuffPost is, CNN is, so we don't have to link to them. But we wanted to avoid that reciprocal link penalty. And we just wanted to benefit from the links, but still have the credibility to say, we have been on CNN. Now you have to take our word for it. You Google
What-
CNN and the name of the firm, and you'll find it. But
So I have a question about that. So like, so if I wanted to do that, but I wanted to say, here's the HuffPost article or whatever. So could I then do a link and then, but do it a no follow?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's how you would do it. So anytime there's a link on both and you really want the link to show it, I would do no follow. If there's any question, no follow.
right,
Okay.
right. That's the purpose of no follow. It's to say to Google, we know this could be interpreted poorly. Therefore, we are going to add this no follow attribute to the link so that we don't look like we're trying to cheat the system.
Okay.
So I've been thinking about this because, I've been dealing with that.
Yeah.
What if, so I also looked at a competitor of mine that's really high up in the search and see what they were doing. But I have a question before I tell you what I found there. Like, what if I was to put no follow links on my portfolio and left their link in place, linking to mine? Can I do that? But you said
That
it's
would be a
something
way of
funny.
closing the circle.
Yeah,
But if you read Google's guidelines, and this is where we have to be really careful,
it was money transaction.
right? Money passed through hands, therefore it could be interpreted as a paid link.
Okay, so I investigated my competitor to see what they do, Integrative, and apparently, like, I looked at all their portfolio clients, and like, I'd say probably half they're actually linking to, and the sites are linking back, and half are not. I mean, half don't have a blurb in their footers of their clients' websites that link to them at all. There's nothing, and then others do. So it's like a mixed bag, I think. And I was reading up on that, and I think, so that's what I was thinking of doing, was doing like some, but not all, like maybe the most important popular ones. I don't know. I'm so
number one, you don't know the impact it's having on your competitor,
mhm.
right? It's really, really hard to see what's working. And this being one of hundreds of ranking factors, you don't know to what effect that one factor is affecting your competitor.
Mhm.
So I would always recommend reading Google's guidelines carefully and following them as close as possible, knowing that it might be worth the risk, but there is risk.
Okay.
It's kind of like, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, where we talked about the pop-ups that go, that everybody likes putting pop-ups to get stuff. I have a client who knows that Google hates them and has made an educated decision to say, we are going to ignore Google's guidelines and do it anyway because it generates so many leads for us.
Defier, I don't think was here that week when we discussed that.
Mhm.
Because that was my
Okay. Oh, that must be what the first step. My point is
Mhm.
sometimes there's bigger things to consider. And we just need to make an informed decision, knowing that we might be cheating Google, and it's one of several hundred ranking factors. It might be worth the risk. There is some risk. Others apparently are seeing it worth the risk and are doing it. We can either accept the risk and do it like them. We can accept the risk and be more aggressive than them, or we could try something else that doesn't involve as much risk. Now, with SEO, there's always a risk tolerance, right? Because you could interpret all link building as risky and not do any link building. And I'd argue that's not risky enough to see SEO success.
Well, I did put no follow links on a lot of them, so that's
Right.
what we were gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm just
So-
afraid of like doing all of them no follow, because then I'm like, oh God, what if I like ruin my ranking all of a sudden? I'm kind of leery about it.
Right. I would recommend not just focusing on the link aspect here. Let's review other things. Oops. Oh, okay. Let's review other things and make sure that we're not ruling out something else that could be a problem. Because this all started because you feel that there's a problem with your site ranking.
I had 6,000. I mean, SEM Rush helped me realize I had 6,000 of these crazy links from other sites that weren't mine, and then also mine. And they're like ranking the others worse than the ones coming from my clients. Those are more branded links, not the money or compound. But I don't really know if they're considered worse or equal or what. But I'm just trying to solve it.
Right. I think by no following one, you can at least close the reciprocal nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're closing it by no following the links out to your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that theoretically, if your link is helping them, that link is no longer helping them.
No, I didn't no follow to them. I no followed from them to me.
Right. So if those were helping, now they will not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's always calculated risk in SEO. I am of the opinion that I tend to be less risk tolerant, and so I tend to be a little more careful,
Mm-hmm.
play a longer game. But I just want to make sure you're all informed on decisions like this to know, okay, this is the rules,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to understand that sometimes we push the envelope on some rules, and sometimes it helps, bless you,
Thank you.
and sometimes it hurts, and sometimes it helps until it hurts. And sometimes it's worth it and sometimes it's not. And those are the hard decisions to make. I wish there was a clear answer here.
Okay.
But the safe answer is doing what you're doing by no following, but that might burn you too.
Okay.
Yeah. Allie, I want to go back to your question. Did we give you enough information to answer your question about where you should put it?
Yeah,
Put
I
this
think
logo?
so. It's just a matter of how I actually place it, like just technically, which is why I'm probably gonna email Stuffy after this. Just
Okay.
to
All right.
see how to edit that.
Well, and that's a great point, is to bring in a professional web designer on that, so that you can add it and it can have the effect, but a good designer with a good design eye can make sure it's done in a way
Yeah.
that doesn't distract from your main call to action, that doesn't break your design and make your
I
site.
can do posts and webinar and all those things, but like editing the actual website
That's
is a
another
little
question.
out of my comfort zone.
That's another, yeah, you don't want to break your site to get this, that's sure.
Well, no.
Okay, Steffi, you had a couple questions too, besides, you were asking about the social media link in your Google My Business account.
Okay. Yeah, I had a client yesterday who was trying to get, she was like, it's showing my Instagram, but it's not showing her Facebook. She's like, how do I get my Facebook in there? And we went into her Google My Business and tried, and it said something about only qualified websites are allowed.
I
And
think
so,
Facebook made a change. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think Facebook made a change with that. I can't remember where I saw it at, but I think they made some type of change about putting their link on their site.
oh, really? Well, some people Facebook is showing in their social media in their Google My Business account, fine, but hers is not. And I read up on it a little bit, and it says something about coding. So do you know anything about that, David? Like it has to be, the website has to be coded a certain way.
So are you talking about what we call the knowledge graph, when you Google your business and it shows up on the right sidebar and it shows the social media logos? Yes. That is a schema, a particular form of schema. I think it's either the organization or the web. I think it's the organization schema. If you have Yoast installed on your website,
Uh-huh.
you will find under the social section of Yoast a list of different social media accounts that you can add.
Ah.
That's how that gets populated into the knowledge graph.
Oh, okay. Well, this person is with, I think, Weebly, which I'm trying to get her to move away. And she's trying to decide whether to go to Squarespace or WordPress. So that'll be one of the things I'll talk to her about. I don't know if Squarespace does that though.
I don't know if Squarespace does. I'll have a comment that I had an issue with a client on Squarespace that really difficult time with images on Squarespace, and especially with Google's Core Web Vitals coming out in 2021. They had images, and once you put it on the site, we couldn't find the image. I had the entire URL. I sent it to Squarespace and I said, I cannot find, here's the URL to the image. I want it deleted because it's showing up as so big, it's slowing the site down. And they said, yeah, we can't find that to delete it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing, like, and especially with Core Web Vitals, everything coming out, you need to look at your images, and sometimes people get there and they just put them up there. With Squarespace, you just can't deal with it. They just, like hours on chat with them, and they could not find the image that I had the URL to delete.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've known some
That's
serious
hard.
issues with
Yeah.
e-commerce with, I can't remember which one, but I'm just encouraging everyone to go to WordPress, but they're just concerned because she's not tech savvy at all, like how, if she's gonna be able to do it. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm here for as far as a coach through
Yeah.
Mountain BizWorks, but.
Well, so here's the other way you could do this, Steffi. Schema is, Yoast plugin does not have a monopoly on schema.
yeah, correct.
You can go to schema.org or any number of schema generators and generate the organization markup for a business.
Okay.
and install the JSON within the code,
Yeah.
as long as you can install invisible code or scripts on a page. And you might be able to, like a Squarespace or Wix or whoever they're using might have some sort of like code thing where you could add a Google Analytics code. Well, you might be able to add JSON in there for the knowledge
Trying to
graph.
teach your client to do that when you're coaching them is like, okay, no. So
I
I'm just
didn't
gonna
say it was
tell
easy.
yes, it's gonna be easier. Okay.
Yeah, chalk this up to one of the things that Yoast does really well, really easily, and why I really like it.
Yeah.
But it's just I think it's organization is the schema. And you just fill it in Yoast. But if you wanted, you could do it without there. All right, you also had another question, and I think this is a great one. How do we get more reviews in Google?
Well, first of all, where do we add it in Yoast? I'm trying to go there right now.
Okay, within Yoast, if you on the left sidebar, there's an option for social.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. Oh my God.
And just
All
make
right.
sure you use the full URL to your social accounts.
Great. Got it.
You know, those
Okay.
are the ones Yoast lists. There's a very limited number of types of accounts Google will consider for the knowledge graph. Those are the ones Yoast is giving you all of your options. So if some social accounts, Google won't even register.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry. So the second question.
Was about reviews for Google My Business. I'm glad you asked that. That's such a great question. You want to elaborate on that, or?
Yeah. So basically, I always tell clients to get reviews, and I've thought up many different ways to do it. I'm just curious if anyone else has other ideas. Like, I first of all have helped set up an a template within MailChimp for clients where after they do a project, he can send this email to them that is really simple. And it just says, please give me a review, and like it has a button, and then takes them to the maps page to make the review, because that's the only place I know to bring that up. And then, just whenever they finish a project, send an email, whether it's personal through MailChimp. Also adding a read, write reviews link at the bottom of their website or the contact page so that they can click on it to read reviews or write one themselves. But I'm curious, I know they're beneficial, but what's the best strategy for getting Google reviews, and is it best to respond to the reviews is another question that Mountain BizWorks asked me. And I didn't know. Is it best to respond with keywords?
So short answer is, yeah, reviews are great. I'm very careful on who I invite to give reviews.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't put it on a public facing page, lest someone be really angry.
Yeah.
And make it easy for someone who's really angry to give me a bad review. Now, they can easily go and give me a bad review if they want, but I don't want to make it easy for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Google My Business recently allows you to go and add a short URL for your Google My Business.
Yeah.
If you go into that and you do the short URL, they will give you a shorter URL you can give people that will allow them to give you a review straight on your Google My Business page.
Yeah, it goes right to the review section, that short URL. And then if you take where it says
within Google My Business account?
Within your dashboard in Google My Business.
Yeah, I noticed that in there, but when I clicked it, it went nowhere. It didn't do anything. I was like, well, it's glitching out.
Go into your info in Google My Business in the dashboard, and then you'll scroll down a little bit and it'll say short link, and you need to make sure something's in there. Once you put that in there, your short link is going to be g.page/ then whatever that short link name was you gave it. So mine is your Biz Watchdog. I just put my business name.
Wait, what's the short link? Where do I put that? I'm in there now.
Info. Then you'll scroll down and it'll be a little @ thing that says short link or short name or something.
Can I share my screen?
Hold on. If you don't mind sharing it with the public.
I don't mind.
Okay. I'm going to, there you go. Now you can.
Okay, do you guys see
So
it?
yes, keep scrolling down. Whoops, okay.
That one
Yeah.
right there?
Okay, so that's it. So that's your short link. So what it means is, and you can decide, you may want to change, if you haven't given that out, you might want to consider changing it and taking the LLC off of it. So you hit the little, yes, hit that,
They
and
might
then
not.
take
Okay.
that off and hit apply. Okay, so now it's going to give, it's not available.
Because it's a very common name.
Okay, so then I would just hit cancel and get out, because, okay. So, okay. So basically your short link now is g.page/ and then that, that short link there, g.page, is it called /? Yes.
Yeah.
And the Evolved LLC. Now stay right there. So that will take you to your Google My Business profile. If you take in on the end of that, type in /review, that will take them right to where they pull up the review. So you can try both of those. You can say, this will pull you up. Oh, is that your house?
Mm-hmm.
Might
Oh,
want to take that off.
I'm sorry. Google My Business is my thing. If you get in trouble for that, you'll have to remove that. You're not supposed to have that.
My house.
You should be a service area business, which means you shouldn't have your address visible. Sorry, David.
Oh, address
please.
I
should not
see things and I'm like, oh no.
Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
I thought I didn't have it visible. Let's see.
But the last thing is just the same thing, g.page / evolve -LLC. And then if you do another / and put review, that will take you to, that's what you would give people to ask for a review, because you can type that in and show that it's going to pop up with the review screen. You might want to put that in so everyone can see.
So right here, review.
And hit enter, and then
It takes you here.
Hold on. Yeah, this is pretty
Okay.
cool.
Pops
so
up.
then
Ah!
and so obviously if you're not going to post, you hit cancel, but that's what you're going to give people to say, leave me a review on Google. I also, for clients, set up like review systems. And for your question about how you ask for the review, part of it depends on the type of company your client is. Like, do they get like 1 or 2 clients a month because, you know, they're big projects? If that's the case, doing a single individual email to them is probably easiest. I have a client that I set up on something, and basically anytime they have new customers, I just get the information into my system and I put it in, and they get an automated email. The client themselves don't have to do anything, which sometimes is easier because they forget to send that email out. And especially if you've got somebody who gets quite a few clients every month, it's not just 1 or 2. And it's like a whole review system where I put their information in, they send it out. I know that they got it. I know that they opened it. I know if they left a review. And as far as replying to reviews, reply to every single review.
Wait, how do you send it? You said through what?
So I have a review platform that I work with my clients, and I set them up on to actually put into a system. It's a review system. So
Okay. So, but there was like something about request a review. Oh, here it is.
Yep.
And that thing, where was it? No, it was somewhere else. I thought it was under
in your home, maybe on home, it could say like request review or something. Get more, wait a minute.
share review form. But when I click it, it's like I could then share via
Yeah.
email.
So yeah, I don't know.
It takes me, and then it kicks me back. Or if I share via Facebook, and then it kicks me back. Or it wants me to make a post.
Yeah. So it's yeah, I don't use that. Yeah.
Okay, it's not working.
But the other thing is, one thing that's really good is like, so when I set it, and it's not just an individual email, and I set it up like the system for my clients, you know, back when COVID started, Google shut down their review system as far as people could leave reviews, but it wasn't public. And this was for months. So a lot of people were freaking out. And so one of the things I always tell my clients is, don't have one place that you get reviews, have a couple. So like I have a client, and what they do is, and also some people don't have a Gmail account, so they don't want to leave your review there. maybe they have a Facebook account or something. So one client, and he sends out, it's like, please leave me a review on one of these platforms, and like 2 or 3 platforms and it depends on the business. So this one, I have it Google, Facebook, and Nextdoor, because I know that he gets reviews on all 3 of those places, and they always result in new clients coming into him.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I'm off.
The only thing no, thank you, Tricia.
Google My Business is like, I'm like,
You
oh,
are the true expert in this, and I'm really appreciative you saying all that. The only thing I would add is, and maybe you can clarify this, Tricia. My understanding is you don't want to you don't want to reply to negative reviews on Google My Business.
not right at all. No.
Okay.
Google My Business, you definitely want to. And the main thing that you really want to consider with that is you're not necessarily responding to the person, you're responding to everybody else looking at it. So if you've got somebody who just went off and, it's just insane, just gone off, tell the business, just be polite and just professional, and basically ask to take it offline. Please give us a call so we can discuss this, and then just leave it. That's the best way, because then other people are looking, because if you don't respond and it was bad, if I'm as somebody maybe looking at that business, I'm gonna say, well, they're just ignoring these people that left a bad review. So you don't want that. So it's always to reply to every review. The one thing that, and this is off of Google, but one other thing I don't know if you know is, I mentioned, if you want other places other than just Google, don't give a link to leave a review on Yelp. Yelp, it is against their guidelines. It's insane, but you can't say, if you've got a business that likes getting Yelp reviews, they cannot say, here's a link to my Yelp account, leave me a review. That's against Yelp's guidelines. So just to throw that in, in case you were thinking that.
Okay.
You can't give them
On
a link to Yelp.
On Yelp only. That's the only one that I know of that says you can't. What people do instead of that is say, oh, well, thanks for doing business. Do me a favor and check in with us on Yelp. Once you go and check in with the business on Yelp, Yelp then sends them an email asking them to review. I think it's a little bit crazy, but that's Yelp. That's their
Yeah, because I asked 5 clients to get me a review, and they did, and they're hidden. It's like if you click more.
Yelp is a whole different can of worms.
I hate them. I hate them.
You're not only, everyone I talk to hates them, but I will tell you for SEO that optimize your account. Make sure it's optimized. That because a lot of places pull from Yelp. So make sure the information is good and current.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that have been burned by Yelp. And every time I say Yelp, at least one person, I hate them. I'm with you. I don't like them either. So
I spent $1,000, got nothing. I'm like, I'm sorry, you guys are bogus.
I had an ad running on there just a couple of years ago. I turned it off. They went in and automatically turned it back on and did notify me.
Oh my God. So what about,
I'm not the only one that's happened to. I've heard that on numerous occasions.
what about responding to the good ones as well, which I always do, but do you use keywords? That's something that Mountain Biz Works was saying.
Use keywords if it makes sense. To use them. If it flows naturally, you can use them. If it's something that flows naturally, definitely include them. If it would look spammy, then don't.
Okay, great.
But they can't, I don't know if it's a noticeable difference, but I think it can help if you do it and it's a natural thing. Yeah.
Okay. And if you're a business, you can't list your street address. I have to hide that somehow.
If you are like me, I operate from my home. It looks like you do as well. So you have to go in and wipe your address and hide it from the public. And it's what's called a service area business. And you might see something SAB. That means service area business. Basically, you don't have a storefront. And then from there, you'll probably put in like your areas that you service. And you just put in some different cities. And I would just keep them in your local area and state, even though I think you do websites or something, even though you could do somebody in a whole different state, you would focus on your general area for your service area in Google.
So I just delete my address. Is it going to let me?
You would go in and remove it.
Okay.
It's been a little while since I've done it.
It says you can't leave it empty.
There's something on there that you do, and I don't remember offhand without seeing. Can you share the screen again?
Yeah. Yep, because I tried to take it off a while ago.
Click clear address and then apply.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. And
Now,
I should remove that home photo, right?
Do what now?
I should remove that home photo, which I did not put.
Well, so
That's probably a street view.
it will probably go away if you add some images. Now see where it says no location deliveries. There's a service area. So you have this under that service areas. I would click that little pencil thing and make sure that what they have is correct.
Yeah.
If you need to add anything and do that. So yeah.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Awesome. And then posts, I'm wondering if they're helpful within Google My Business as well. That's another Mountain BizWorks question.
Yeah, I yes, I just wanted to
on this.
What now?
I've actually collected some data on this. So
It depends.
yeah. So what I did is with a client, I post a blog post on their website every week. And I would go and link to that from the Google My Business post every week. But what I would do is add Google UTM tracking codes to the end of the URL, because Google does not distinguish a visit from Google My Business posts into the client's site. I wanted to see if anybody was even looking at them, despite what Google's telling me.
Yeah.
And what I found is the click data in the Google My Business posts is correct. I can verify it through Google Analytics. Converts for crap. Very few people see it it's such a small fraction of the traffic. The only advantage I can see of doing it is it's because you're doing something on your Google My Business however often you post something, you are confirming to Google that you're still open and running.
Yeah.
But it can't be the same as the blog post on your site.
I don't recommend that. What I do is I use the title of the blog post on my site, and I say learn more and link to the blog post on my site.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a link building thing. This just prevents, I don't want to reduplicate my content. I want people.
Put the title and link more and learn more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want you to learn more about the subject.
Okay.
And a lot of for that is some of it depends on the business too, because I've heard of like people posting and like every time they post they get new clients. So but then again there are ones, a lot of it's the business and what they've got. So I also tell clients to put their specials if they've got any special deals going on, because some of the times the images used there do come up when people are searching your business.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Great. Well, that's perfect timing because now I've got to roll.
Okay.
But what a bunch of great questions. It's so nice to see everybody. And we'll catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thank
Everybody
you.
take care.
Was fun. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.